Hello, hello, hello. My name is Natasha Nurse, and I'm speaking with Sola Fasehun. She is a award-winning producer, writer, actress, singer, extraordinaire, really. So Sola, thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So I guess what I'd love to have you do first is just kind of share with everyone listening, just like what your story is. How did you become the woman you are today? And share all the accolades that you have a lot, but I'm sure the number one things to say.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me and inviting me to come and do this with you. It's always an honor to get to know and to talk with other fabulous women in the industry. So thank you so much for having me. And
Absolutely.
I guess, just basically to start off, I just grew up always with art in the home. My father is a musician. And so I was always in the home. There was always music. There was always books and entertainment, everything like that. It was just really, really a great childhood. And I always gravitated towards my dad's music studio. And just before I could even write, I was always singing,
Hmm.
doing music and everything like that. And then when I learned to write, I just started writing songs with my father at such a young age. So basically, I was always into art, and it started with music. And I thought that I was going to, continue on doing music for the rest of my life. And I still do music now. But basically, what happened was I got into musical theater, so I also got into music and acting. And I noticed growing up that just, in movies, in TV, there didn't seem to be a lot of women of color.
Hmm.
I didn't really see a lot of, people that look like me on the screen in positive roles. So I think I knew early on that I would have to find a way to create those kind of things. And that's how I moved into the behind the scenes of producing and writing. I went to college, I went to Carnegie Mellon University, and I was a double major in theater directing and writing. And, oddly enough, the only theater I've done was I was an associate producer on the Broadway show Godspell. But other than that, that's the only theater I've done. I've done more film and TV.
Hmm.
And basically, when I was out in LA, I dabbled in different things. I was acting, I was working in production offices, I was doing music. And I found even the roles that I was going for seemed to be negative stereotypes. Like I was always the abused person in a relationship. I was when I was going for auditions, I was the drug addict. And there's nothing wrong with those roles as long as there's a
Hmm.
variety and it's not the only thing that women of color or people of color are typecast as,
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
in the sense that I really need to go more behind the camera to create a diversity of roles for diversity, for diverse people. And so basically, I started my production company out in LA, Fasehun Films, and that just came wanting to support diversity, women of color, women, men of color, and, just diverse stories that I really wasn't seeing. And that's how that came about.
Mm. And how has that journey been being a woman and being a person of color?
Definitely not easy.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think things happen for a reason. I think that if things were easy for me, maybe I wouldn't appreciate it as much.
Mhm.
Um, you really love something when you struggle, and not everything comes easily.
Mhm.
And I knew from the moment I moved to LA after graduating from Carnegie Mellon, I knew that it was going to take me a longer time to get to where I wanted to get to, just because of the way certain parts of the industry are, especially for women of color. It's just so hard,
Mhm.
And so I did that, and I was just like, there's going to be a way. There's going to be a way. I just have to act with integrity and do the best work I can do and be the best person I can be and try to help as much as I can, not just have it be about me, but also try to create opportunities for other people.
Mhm.
So it definitely hasn't been easy, and I'm seeing things right now I never thought I would see. Everything with Weinstein coming out and all of these women, black, white, Latino, Asian coming out and saying that unfortunately they were victims of this, repressive system,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it really, really is opening up a lot of important dialogue and conversation about positive change for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, so the journey hasn't been easy. I have a lot of hope just because of all the things that I'm seeing. I'm seeing things I never thought I would see. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing. People are speaking their truth. They're talking about what they've gone through. And I think that's the way to change. And I just have so much hope for the future of the industry, in a very, very good way. So yes, it's been hard, but I think moving forward that all of the stuff that's happening now will probably lay a foundation for things to improve,
Mm-hmm.
for everyone. Everyone has this opportunity.
What has been some of the most meaningful lessons learned along the way?
I think the most meaningful lessons learned is that, again, just knowing that if you really want something, sometimes it's not going to come to you easily, but that's a true test, because if you stick with it, you really know if this is what you were meant to do,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how hard something is, if you stick with it because you love it, things do eventually work out. And also, carrying yourself with as much integrity and positivity as possible, I think is really important, because I think it's just tough. It's a tough industry. It's not easy for a lot of people, but I think that if you're able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm doing the best I can. I'm not hurting anybody with what I'm doing. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to do positive things, also lift up the next generation coming after. I think that that's the best way to go moving forward. Just, always try to put your best foot forward, always try to be positive. And that's okay if sometimes that you're down, you're just like, oh, I wish this was happening with my career. But let those down moments motivate you to continue doing what you love, and it's going to make the success and the rewards all the much more sweeter after you've emerged on the other side of, struggling and working hard,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And just so everyone knows why we're speaking, Sisters on Fire it was started as a play formerly known as Diary of a Mad Black Feminist by, the one and only Marcia McNair, and in between productions, which we've had some very successful and sold out performances, we wanted to have the conversation continued online. We want to keep the fire burning, and the best way to do that is to celebrate women like you who are unapologetically amazing and really forces of nature in what you do, and specifically as someone who has such a great role in film and TV and theater, that's really, really important, because so much of us are what we spend a lot of time consuming a lot of media and entertainment. And so it's important to have women like yourself who are dedicated to showcasing diversity and making sure that our stories are being told in diverse ways, and that we're not just always, shown in a certain light. So I guess I'd love to
Exactly.
know how would you define the term sister on fire?
Ooh, first of all, I love the term Sister on Fire.
Mm-hmm.
I would just define it as women who just are trailblazers. They just go through and don't think about the obstacles. They don't think about the hardships. They just go through and try to overcome things and try to move forward. And that could be in every asset of their life. It could be in every facet of their life. It could be, it could be with their family, with their communities, in their career, in their relationships. Sisters on Fire are just positive women doing the best they can with what they have, and who are just motivated to make positive change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So in your life, who were women that lived up to that for you?
Oh gosh, I would say definitely my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad, they were immigrants. They came from Africa in the 70s. So, they came alone without their families, and they came here for school, and they completed college. And, the goal was for them to go back to Nigeria to, work in the family business. But, a military dictator took over around that time, and my grandparents urged them to stay in this country.
Mm.
Just because going on politically there. And can you imagine going to another country thinking you're only going to go there for school and then finding out that you probably do have to stay because of what's going on at home? So I just feel like their courage, you know what, they persevered, you know, especially with what's going on today with people being deported. Immigrants are so hardworking, so hardworking. I saw that in my parents. And it's just really, you know, it was so motivational to me. That's where I got my drive to work hard, just from them and the lessons they taught me, and all of that. And so just even connecting it to what's going on today, it's just like, it's a shame because immigrants are so hardworking and they're the backbone of this country, you know? If you're not a direct immigrant, probably your grandparent was, or your great-grandparent or something, and they all contributed important things to making this country what it is today. So I just think that, you know, I definitely look up to my parents for all their hard work, for giving us a wonderful home and making sure that we never wanted for anything. You know, we had food on the table, we had a roof over our head, we went to great schools, and they also instilled in us that if you work hard, your dreams can come true, you know, and they supported us. Like, who, you know, it's not very often that when a child says that they want to be an artist, that their parents are over the moon with excitement. That was the case. They were so supportive. And I thought that was normal until I went away to college and I found out that from my friends that if they had, you know, wanted to work in the arts, their parents would have disowned them. And I was just shocked. I was like, your parents would have disowned you? What? So that's just realized how special that was, their support. So basically both my mom and my dad just are role models. Just you know, they're not famous, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they definitely instilled in me a lot of positive values that I still use today.
I love it. Okay. So what advice, do you have for, you know, a young woman or even a young man who's listening and trying to figure out, you know, can I do this? Can I really have a voice in the arts? Can I share my story? Can I share the stories of others? Like, what advice would you say to her or him listening right now?
I would say, basically, you know, for any guy or gal that's listening to this that wants to, you know, be in art, I would say learn your craft as much as you can. You know, don't wait for Hollywood to come knocking. Create your own content, whether it's a web series or short film, just to get started. Get your friends in on it. You know, if you don't have a lot of money, get your friends in on it. You know, borrow equipment, do favors here and there so that, you know, you can get the project done. And basically, I mean, you know, Awkward Black Girl, Issa Rae's web series is, you know, now there's a version of it on HBO called Insecure, that, you know, popular show. But that's a web series. She didn't wait for Hollywood to come knocking. She didn't even major in film in college. She just said, I want to do this. So she came up with a great story, great acting. It drew a following, and Hollywood came knocking on her door. You know, I think my thing is just don't wait for Hollywood to come to you. Make your own content, and in making your own content, learn from it. What would you do differently in the next project? You know, because it's all about a learning process and everything like that. And also seek out mentors. If there is someone's work that you admire, find a way to reach out to them, and you know, send a heartfelt email or something like that, and just say, I really, really admire your work. I'm trying to do something similar. Could I talk to you for a few minutes and get advice? Or I'm looking for a mentor. Could I check in with you every few weeks and just to get some advice? I honestly feel that it would be really hard for anyone to say no to that, because I think deep down a lot of people have good hearts and they do want to help. So I think mentors are really important, and not waiting for opportunity. Just go for it.
I love it. Awesome. And would you say, like, now that you've had the context of doing everything that you've done, is there anything that you would have done different in your career? And if so, what and why?
I think that's a really great question. All the questions are great, by the way. I don't think I would do anything different, because I feel like things happen for a reason. I feel like you make the decisions you make because you feel at the time that that's the best decision for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this even when I was in high school. And again, it came from not seeing people like me in the movies, in TV, and knowing that, I knew that it would be better for me to go behind the camera. I still love music and I still love acting. I still do those things. But to create those opportunities, I would have to do that. And this was me as a teenager realizing this. So I don't have any regrets because I think I was woke. I think, like, you know.
Yeah.
I just knew. I was like, this is not, there's something odd going on here that, you know, people who have diversity in this country, it's not being represented on the screen. It's not being represented. It's not being represented in film. So I knew there was something that I would have to do to kind of on my end try to change that and make that better for certain people. But I feel that I have no regrets. I feel like the decisions I made were the best decisions for the time and for the situation I was in.
I love it. Okay.
So, yeah.
And with current day, you know, media, are there things that you would like to see that aren't currently being made, so that anyone listening could be like, oh, I want to talk to you about that. Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I guess that's a really great question. I think on what's not being made, I feel that it would just be, I think, just more stories available about different human experiences. You know, because even now, basically, my company works with another company called Submarine, and we've done work on sales and distribution from everything from Jennifer Lawrence's Winter's Bone to Jason Blum's Creep, Tangerine. We've got, you know, worked on Academy Award-winning films such as Searching for Sugar Man, 20 Feet from Stardom, Citizen 4. And so it's through my work with them that I feel like I've just been educated so many times over on what's going on in the world, you know, because we're becoming an increasingly global society. You really can't be isolated anymore, just with internet and social media and everything going on, right? So I feel like it's just really important to keep on looking for those stories that still haven't been told, because there still are stories that haven't been told, or even if they have been told, reinvent them some way. Or to say Romeo and Juliet was reinvented with West Side Story. You know, find a way to, even those classic, amazing stories, put it in modern times. What's something going on? I think Get Out is a great example of that. You have a horror film that speaks to the experience of, you know, African American isolation and all sorts of other themes that people, you know, can identify with, you know. And I feel like those are the kind of stories that people want more and more. It's like, okay, take something classic, whether it's a genre like horror, or it's a story like Romeo and Juliet, and make it modern, you know. I think that's something that's really, really always going to be interesting to society. And then also, just if there's something that you've never seen, work hard to bring it to the screen, because I guarantee Hollywood's looking for those stories, you know?
I love it. Okay. And just out of curiosity, what is your absolute favorite movie, if you have one?
Oh my gosh, it's so tough. Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Yes, you can do it. Mine is The Other Sister. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh my gosh, this is so tough. Okay. Maybe I'll say, okay, I have a lot, so that's why this is tough. But probably one of them is Introducing Dorothy Dandridge.
Yes.
Yes. It wasn't in the screens. This was actually an HBO film.
Yep.
And I think it helped put Halle Berry into the stratosphere. This is a future star, because this was before she won her Academy Award. This is a story that took decades to get to the screen. Everyone from Houston to Janet Jackson was trying to get this movie made and star in it too. But Halle did it. Not only did she star in it, but she also produced it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she knew that she would have to take a role behind the camera to get this movie made and to get it done. Being an actress in it wasn't just going to cut it. She also had to be behind the camera, helping to make those important decisions so that the movie could get made. And of course, as we know, she wins Golden Globes, Emmys, everything, and it helps to get her to that Academy Award a few years later. But the thing is that what fascinated me, not just about the struggle to get this movie done, but the fact that growing up, I never saw classic movies that had people of color as the lead. I didn't know about this movie until introducing Dorothy Dandridge.
Yeah.
You know? And then I went back and I saw Carmen Jones, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I've never seen movies in that era that had people of color as the lead. So it was so inspiring that knowing even back then, even though it wasn't often, it was happening, you know? And that's why I think that the movie introducing Dorothy Dandridge is so, so great, because it's like, it got done. It got done because an actress was like, I'm also going to have to be one of the producers, you know? Also going to have to be behind the camera to do that. And it got done, and it did really well. And I think it educated a generation about, you know, other actors of color, other artists of color and the struggle they had. You know, it was a reminder of the struggle it was. Even with that much success, there was still struggle because of the color of your skin. So I just love, that's one of my favorites.
Yes, that is an excellent film. I loved Dorothy. I remember my dad being very much in love with her when, you know, he was alive, when she was around, right? And like just loving her. And just, when I saw that film, I thought Halle did an amazing job, first and foremost. And it was beautiful. It was really, I like yourself as well. I grew up in Lower East Side Manhattan. I did not see Black women that looked like me on TV or in film. And it takes a toll on your Black identity, and it takes a toll on you not knowing your worth. And, you know, will society love you and cherish you if you're never seen, right? Like, it's a really sad and scary situation for many, like you said, a generation to be in. And that movie definitely was groundbreaking. So yes, I hope if anyone's listening, they've not seen that movie, they should definitely go and watch it and just fall in love with Dorothy Dandridge and fall in love with Halle Berry for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, well, I guess now I would love just two things. If you are working on something, film, song, production, and you want to, you know, share the details, definitely do that. And then also, you know, if anyone's listening and they want to know more about you and your story, or potentially even want to work with you, share those details.
Yeah, sure. So I'm working on a bunch of projects right now in TV and film. Now, I can't really talk much about it because we're still in the development phase, but basically, you can always go to my website on WordPress. It's Fasehun Films, and if you just type that in the search engine, it should come up, and it's on WordPress. And usually in my bio, I update on, you know, just the stuff I've been working on. But again, these projects are about diversity, working with men and women of different backgrounds, to, you know, some great entertainment to people, whether it's on TV and film. And also on the music side, a few songs I wrote are on a new album under Danceholic Records, Universal Music Group. And the album is called Underground Radio Volume 3, and it's on iTunes and Spotify. And I actually sing one of the songs. It's called Groove With Me, and I also wrote that. And then I also wrote another song on the album called Delete, and it's sung by Elsa. And we also have some great artists featured on the album, such as Grammy-nominated Gretchen Parlato, who's like really big in the jazz scene, and just some other really great, amazing artists. So it was really a lot of fun to work on. So there's more info on that on my WordPress site under the music section. And it's called Underground Radio Volume 3. And it's on iTunes and Spotify, and the label is Danceholic Records. And you can also look them up online, www.danceholicrecords.com.
I love it. Great. Well, again, Sola, thank you for being a Sister on Fire. Thank you for sharing your story in this series. And, thank you for inspiring everyone listening to know that, they can have a voice, that they can, like you said, don't wait for Hollywood to come to you, but, create your own content and be your own essentially idol, and people will come knocking to you and come looking for you for direction. So you're amazing. Keep the fire blazing. Just thank you.
You're amazing too. I love what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you. It's exciting. I'm like in love every time I get to speak with someone like you. It's an honor and a privilege. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me. This has been a blast.
Awesome. All right. Have a good day. Bye.